him and the players got into an argument about whether to use D&D Beyond on their phone or on tablets or whatever, or on their laptops. Fight broke out. Someone flipped the table. Session's canceled. Sup? Is I, Matt, once again here from my basement, just like the rest of you guys, my fellow nerds. I am one of you. Welcome to Sessions Canceled. I'm here with my boy, Josh.
I was going to let you keep floundering.
As you can see,
I was going to let that one keep going.
So today, on today's schedule, I'm going to do the Fairly Odd
Today's
Parents
itinerary?
Meme. Yeah, on today's itinerary, where Isaiah hosts. If he was here. Instead, I'm hosting today.
Here's where I would put my Isaiah. If I had one.
Exactly. Isaiah's too busy in the warp.
No, he
got
Nurgle's rot.
Yeah. But pulling a topic out of my anus, I decided I want to look at some of these end of the year D&D Beyond stats and take a look at them and question them and have a good old talk. Yes, sir.
Your opening bits, they're getting a little formulaic, sir. You gotta spice it up.
What do you mean?
You're getting a little stale in the bedroom, my guy.
What are you talking about? Everyone loves a good table flip.
You gotta spice them up a little bit. I need a little something else, something, sir.
You know what you do need, Josh?
Get some toys or something.
Tell the listeners what they can do.
They could buy some toys from Adamant. Never mind.
Baddragon.com. Thanks for sponsoring.
No. Elda, that's
Can you imagine?
Christ. That would be a wild time.
So
no,
funny.
don't go to that website. Instead, go to the website that you're already listening on and hit the follow or subscribe button to us.
Yes.
I tried to segue out of that as best as I could.
No, I'm sorry. I realized as soon as
that was. I don't know why you brought up Bad Dragon. There's a lot of trauma going on here.
Speaking of bad dragons,
D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond. Yeah, exactly.
All
Dungeons and
Bad
Dragons Beyond. Yeah. Suffice to say, 2023 was a bit of a bumpy ride for D&D fans. Not gonna lie.
Was it? What are you talking about? What happened, Matt?
We had good things like a movie. We got a movie, guys.
Yeah, we did. We had the movie.
Yeah.
What else happened?
We got like 5 books. That's a lot of books.
Yeah. What else happened,
That's a lot of books. We had some cross pollination, some third party people getting on D&D Beyond. Crazy. We also had that thing in January that nobody.
That thing in January. We're just gonna bring that one up too much. Yeah, it's fine.
It was a little bit. Everyone's talked about the OGL already.
I mean, we didn't really talk about the OGL, but we also had nothing to add, so it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, rocky year.
Oh, you forget we did also have the Decamedi things getting fucked up. That was the thing.
Yeah,
that
just.
That one wasn't too bad, but it was kind of funny.
There's a video I forgot what the YouTuber is called. I'll remember at some point, but he made a video where it's like, Wizards of the Coast in 2023. And it's just every single thing that has happened to them this year.
Oh God.
It's been, and like he's a parody channel.
Wait. Was the Pinkertons last year?
Yes.
That
was all 2023. Yeah.
No.
Literally. Yeah.
God damn it, dude.
It was so funny.
Oh, that's so fucked.
Yeah.
There's
so much.
Oh, the AI art?
Yep. So much.
AI art?
Yeah. Again, so much shit happened.
The leaked dates?
One Shot Questers. That's the guy's name. He made a hilarious video, Wizards of the Coast in 2023.
Yep.
Literally just everything, every fucking thing.
God,
and then he made an updated version of the video.
Oh no!
In the last month, because he's like, surely nothing can happen in the last 2 fucking months.
Surely it can't be any worse.
And then it did.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
Oh, so good. Yeah, one shot Quester. Fucking great video. great YouTube.
People getting mad about the add-on adventure for Planescape.
Yep.
They're just going through the greatest hits now. I'm sure there's
so much shit. There's so much.
There's always things to
but
complain about.
rather than talking about all the bad things that happened this
We're
year,
going to talk about incredibly neutral numbers.
yes,
which are neither
incredibly
good
neutral
nor bad.
numbers. Yes. So D&D Beyond, which I would just preference this right off the bat.
Preference?
I would just no, my brain just preface. I would preface this right off the bat.
Uh-huh.
Me and Josh do not use D&D Beyond. I read the articles sometimes, but I do not use it as the website to host D&D games or make characters or any of that. I'll just say that right off the bat.
Yeah, I would say that's mostly true. I've used it a little bit for some in-person play, and I use it. I did buy some stuff on there, so I do use it for like reference and stuff sometimes.
Okay.
So I sort of dabble around in it from time to time. But no, yeah, I mean, because both me and you, Roll20 is our primary platform use. There's not really a lot of reason for us to use D&D Beyond. But honestly, the stats that are being presented here it doesn't really matter if you use D&D Beyond or not. They're just sort of general D&D stats. They're sort of anachronistic. I mean, they are pulled from D&D Beyond, obviously, but they're pretty anachronistic. They're pretty. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't ubiquitous?
No, not ubiquitous. They're pretty not. They're not attached to D&D Beyond. Like you don't have to use D&D Beyond to understand the numbers they are bringing up. Is what I was trying to say. Those words are hard.
Yeah.
Words talking. So much work. So much work.
January 16th, D&D Beyond released the article 2023 roll, look back at the year of adventures. It just has some interesting stats that I kind of wanted to go over and just have a generalized like conversation about, because some of these numbers are like, wow, that's a lot of people, and some of these numbers I'm like, question.
Let me just, if I could just lock and load the chamber right now and just unleash the rant from the jump, really.
Let me get my popcorn.
These stats kind of fucking suck as stats.
Okay.
Because
how so?
So, well, for starters, some of them are just not particularly like. Okay, the point of releasing stats like this, I feel like, is, to sort of give people an idea and have numbers that we can use to sort of, inform decisions like about our games or purchasing decisions or buying decisions or business decisions, like the numbers are, some of these are just sort of vague and nonsense. But like, my real complaint.
Like which one? Just for an example. Like the charity one, which is not a bad one, but it feels slightly out of place, A little bit, yeah.
But really, that's less of a problem, though. Like, if they want to throw some random ones in there for funsies, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
What I have more beef with is that a lot of these numbers seem kind of weird and questionable, and it's not clear where the numbers are. Like, the information is lacking. There's a lot of points where the information is lacking, and it's not clear what they mean by certain things. And that bugs me, because I feel like stats, if you're going to take the time to release stats, they're only really valuable if you explain where the numbers, either A, where the numbers are being derived from, or B, what you're doing with the numbers, or like how you're using them. But I feel like we're sort of lacking in that regard.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm a little annoyed. They also displayed some of them in kind of like the bar graphs are a little weird and stuff. Well, that's whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like what am I supposed to do with these now that you put them out? I don't know. They feel a little aimless, maybe, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, some of them I can see, like the first stats.
I have complaints on the first stats.
Yeah, like it seems like it's like, all right, 180 million characters / NPCs were played.
Okay.
It's like, so it's like, does that mean?
What does that mean? Exactly. Yeah. What does that mean?
It doesn't say created.
Doesn't say.
It says played. So that means people, because they roll D&D Beyond made their own like.
They have their own virtual tabletop now. Finally, all these years later.
So that means that 180 million tokens were put on a map.
That's my best guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Which,
But
when you put it that way, it's like, okay, that's that's a lot. But also, like, what if you're fighting like 100 kobolds?
here's my thing. Yeah. if so, I guess we're going into the stats now. I guess. So
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah.
so it says 180 million characters or NPCs were played, and 88 million monsters were fought or befriended. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have no way to track the metric of fought or befriended. They're just being a little cheeky with, like, wordplay. Whatever. Fine. So if what you're telling me is 180 million characters or NPCs were placed on the board, and 88 million monsters were placed on the board, because I assume that's the only real stat they could track. That's not really interesting or useful information in any way, because you're just, like, you could just load up a map and be testing things out, and just maybe you're like, I just want to see how many tokens do I have to put on the D&D Beyond maps. Like, how many tokens do I have to place before it crashes? And so you place 500 dragons. Like, that's not 500 dragons that were actually used for a game. Or maybe you're just trying to test how the tokens function. So you're like, I'm going to put 5 different kobold tokens and see if they how they interact with each other, because it's a copy of the same thing. Is that going to fuck it up? Like, there's all sorts of reasons you would throw down tokens that aren't for a game or anything. So this doesn't feel like, I feel like a more interesting stat, because they want to promote maps, right? They want to promote their tool, their VTT maps. So like, a more interesting stat would be, 100,000, whatever the number would be. 100,000 players spent over an hour in maps, right? Like, tell me how long people were sitting in maps. I feel like something like that would be more, or tell me how long.
Although that would be, because that would be like what most game sessions between like 2 and 4 hours. So like that number would be like fucking super bloated.
Yeah, but you want it to look bloated. Right?
Okay.
So
yeah, I guess true.
Because this number looks bloated too, but this bloated number doesn't feel particularly exciting. But if you told me, hundreds of thousands of players spent 2 hours plus in maps, that's a bloated number that I go, oh, okay, so people are really liking maps. People are using it. This doesn't really tell me if people are using maps or not. This just tells me people are fucking around in maps, but it doesn't tell me if people are really doing anything. Like, it doesn't tell me if people are actually using it for their games or not. They might be, but they might not be. Obviously some of those numbers are, but it's just like a vague. It's just a weird. It's a weird thing to track, and it's weirdly phrased, and it's a rounded number. It's just like a lot. I'm just like, this first one I looked at and went, okay, I guess.
It is strange that there are literally almost 100 million more. Actually, no, it makes sense that there's over 100 million more characters than monsters being put on the field.
Does it? Map. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I mean, because like, think about how many times like players are fighting one big monster. Like,
not that often.
You have 4, not a lot, but like how millions of people. Like each different campaigns and stuff.
Yeah, but there's only ever 4. There's usually the 4 player tokens.
Average 4 player tokens. So no, I'm saying it makes sense.
Versus all the monsters that keep getting dropped over and over and over. I would think the monster number would be the bigger number. Also, how are they differentiating NPCs versus monsters in this? The more I think about these numbers, the more I don't understand them.
That one is a little confusing.
That doesn't make it. Yeah, how do you there's no way to differentiate that. The game doesn't differentiate those two things. Everything's considered a monster stat block, quote unquote. Like NPCs, the bard you meet and fight or whatever is still considered a monster stat block.
Because there are certain like NPC stats that have like, actual character names and everything.
Yeah, but they're in the monster manual. Like, they're still considered, monsters, as far as the game is concerned, they are considered a monster.
Yeah, you can have, Jacob Jacobson is, he's a scout stat block. And it's like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, so like, a lot. Yeah, the more I look at these two numbers, the more I'm like, I don't really get what the point of this one was. It does nothing. I guess it's just to show like how many people are still like
how many people are trying to use the program or they're
Right.
they're
No,
at,
I get
it's
that.
still an alpha, but like again, it is a weird
Like,
number.
yeah, I get that they're trying to say how many people are using the program. I just think these are bad numbers to try and represent that.
Mhm.
That's why I think playtime hours would have been a way
Yeah.
more compelling number. You know, it would have felt, or even tell me number of maps created, right? Because you have to like generate the map to like play on it. So tell me
Right.
how many maps were generated. That still feels like a more useful number than NPCs and monsters play. Like
Yeah, I wonder because again, I don't have any real experience with maps, but from what it seems, it is integrating a lot of the D&D Beyond like books and everything that are on there.
It integrates everything.
Yeah, but like I wonder if you're able to make your own maps? I'm assuming, right? Or no? Or you only
No,
can
yeah,
use
you can
whatever's-
upload your own maps. You can
Oh,
upload
okay,
a
yeah.
picture, like a file of a map.
Okay, yeah,
But that's
cool, 'cause
still-
I'm
Still,
reading the stat where it's like 17 books have been added to the library now, so it's like
yeah, they keep
right.
adding books and stuff. It just I don't know. It's just odd choice of number. This was the and not only odd choice of number, weird. I would say odd choice to open with. Not the one I would have thought to open with.
I think
in
because
terms of the
maps is
stats.
so new. Again,
I know that it's 'cause
I
it's
forgot
new,
it's
yeah.
like it came out in September.
It didn't even
realize.
come
I was
out
like,
technically.
oh shit,
It's
it's
still
an alpha. It's still an alpha. Yeah.
Maybe
But I
they're
guess
calling
because
it
it's the
beta now.
newest, but maybe
it's the
because
newest
it's the
thing.
newest thing, they're like,
It
oh,
is.
let's just show off this thing. You're like, oh, okay,
But you just, I don't know.
Yeah.
You showed off your new thing in a very boring way, I guess. Is what I'm at. I don't know.
But then after that, which is another, I get why they put this on here, the charity section, because they're like, oh,
Yeah.
look how charitable like our fan base is and everything, and look how much money we.
Yeah.
Well, not even how much money we raised by the charity, but how many
people
players contributed to the charity through D&D Beyond.
So
Yeah.
this one I actually think is a much better number to go with because I think
Yeah.
it's very clear what you're trying to do here. If you say over 37,000 players contributed to charity through, we have to, by the way, Matt, we have to make sure we read what each of these are verbatim.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a visual medium. So charity, over 37,000 players contributed to charity through D&D Beyond. This one I like a lot because it's very clear. You're saying, look at all these people who contributed to charity. What does that do? That makes you want to do it, right? That's how most charities get money. You see someone else do it. You feel the urge to do it because your friend did it. You feel like an awful, guilty, horrible person if you don't. So you do. You contribute. I like that they didn't use money raised, though. I really like that they use number of people because when you look at charities online, it can feel really deceptive when you see like, oh, $1 million was raised. And then you see one guy donated $500,000 and you're like, oh,
Which
so then
isn't that funny? Because that shit happens way more often than you think.
it happens a lot. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
But the thing is if you highlight that, it actually, and there has been legitimate like psychological like studies and papers on this. If you highlight that, it actually discourages people from donating because people look at it and go, oh, there's no point in me giving $5 because people are giving thousands of dollars. My little $5 is irrelevant. But it's not actually true. Most charities make the bulk of their money from, I think it's somewhere in the range of like, I want to say $2 to $5 or something like that. Like most charities make their bulk of their money in small donations. So you actually want to highlight that because it encourages more people to do it. And that's actually more successful. So the fact that they said 37,000 players is good because that means you're literally telling me not $37,000, which would be quite low, but 37,000 people took the time to donate, which is a much more impactful number because that's like a lot of people. You know, so you look at that and go, oh, that's a lot of people. I want to be a part of that pool.
Yeah.
So even though it feels weird that this was in the list because it's kind of an outlier from all the other things in the list, this is a much better number to use and a much more interesting stat, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. They went from a really questionable first one to a solid second one.
Yeah. my only, and I mentioned this last time too, my only biggest thing was because they even say under here, like, whether you purchase through D&D Beyond the Misplaced Monsters, which was that one where a bunch of children made
The kids made the drawings.
Yeah, the kids made drawings, and then they turned them into real monsters, which was cool. And then the Domains of Delight, which came out a few years ago, Wild Beyond the Witchlight. And I mentioned this, like, I think it was literally last episode, where I was like, I like that. I can buy the separate PDF on D&D Beyond, DM's Guild, because I like PDFs more. This one though, now the D&D Beyond, they're starting to move into exclusive stuff, like this one, the Misplaced Monsters Volume 1. You can only get it through D&D Beyond. I can't support Extra Life through DM's Guild anymore. Now I have to go through D&D Beyond, which, it's like, then they get your email and all that stuff, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Well, that's because they don't have any kind of partnership with DM, as far as I can tell anymore.
Yeah, which is
actually, maybe they do now because Wizards bought them. So maybe they do again. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, because they've been selling old PDFs forever on the website.
Right,
and they have that whole licensing where you can use D&D monsters and sell, as long as you sell the product, and Wizards gets a cut of it. That's how a lot of people make adventures on there that have mind flayers and beholders and shit that Wizards owns.
Right, but that's a separate thing.
Yeah.
From that's because that's old content, so Wizards doesn't necessarily care. But
the older editions, yeah.
But for current content, that's a different story. But I think the reason you can't buy the charity stuff on DM's Guild, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's because they lost kind of their deal with the DM's Guild or with one bookshelf, really.
Okay.
But
yeah, I guess that could make sense, because they used to they had that one in the Muck Adventure. I forgot the little kid. Because they have a bunch of those, the Extra Life, the Turtle Pack, fucking so many charitable. The Locanth as well. I think that was an Extra Life one. Also, it's crazy to think about how nowadays, back then, 2017, somehow. When the Turtles came out, they were a charity only DLC thing.
Yeah.
And now they're I don't want to say
they're considered
pretty
a primary
popular
race.
Now they're in so many different books. They're in the Mordenkainen book. Yeah.
Were they reprinted in Mordenkainen?
They were reprinted in Mordenkainen. They were also reprinted in the Wildmount book for Critical Role. I don't remember if there was a third time they were reprinted. They might have, and I just don't remember. Because it's funny. I remember them too, because they came out right after Tomb of Annihilation. And there was that whole joke where there's a separate island off the coast of the archipelago of Chult. And you're like, oh shit. You're like, all right, and these are where all the turtles come from. And they came with its own little adventure and everything. There's so many Master Oogways out there. So many.
Yes. Correct. Yeah, turtles are kind of a funny one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm also thinking, and grungs. I forgot about grungs were also an Extra Life. Yeah. It's strange though how the grung though, and what was the other one? The other one came out Ghost of Saltmarsh, the Locanth.
Yeah.
With fish, manatee people. Yeah, I don't know
I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, same. It's strange that because I know grung were pretty popular, but also people don't like playing them because of the whole water setback they have, where they have to dunk themselves every few hours or they'll die. As frog.
What a surprise! People having struggle.
Yeah. I don't remember what the Locanth there. I don't remember if there was any downside to them really, but I guess because fish people, which we don't have enough of, I guess, because we have sea elves and we have tritons, and I guess people are like, I don't want a Locanth. I don't know.
Are you going somewhere with this, or
no? Not really. I'm just making general fucking.
Okay.
I'm just saying it's weird. It's very weird. That,
I wasn't sure if I was losing.
My original. Sorry. I found my original point again.
Okay.
My original point is it's weird that the turtle out of those Extra Life races
became the cool one,
or it was the only one that really stuck. And grung, you see people who make meme builds with grungs, but they never really became like a forefront race that you would see a lot. And then Locath people, it's in probably like a race that nobody really plays.
I mean, I think Grung got cool because, I think Tortle got cool because people just like the idea.
Yeah.
It's appealing.
And the Tortle Barbarian in our game, and he basically was just like, what's not Godzilla, but the other one, the other like kaiju
Gamera.
turtle guy. Yeah, he basically was that. It was the funniest thing. Oh,
Gamera.
yeah. Yeah, fucking dude, Tortle Barbarians are fucking strong as shit. This is crazy. But next, going on to claimables, where this is where, again, D&D Beyond kept doing this a lot this year. Like they had, actually, was the Vecna dossier this year? Or was that last year? That might have been last year, actually.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but like they would do these timed releases of like little things that you can get on D&D Beyond, and you can only use on D&D Beyond because, of course.
Can you not get the Baldur's Gate character?
I don't know. I don't
even
know
if honestly, even if you could, I don't know how you'd even find them because D&D Beyond is still hard to navigate.
Well, luckily for you, Josh, on this article they actually have the links so you can.
I mean, yes, but I'm just saying in general.
Oh yeah, you would have to. Yeah, people who use D&D Beyond, please don't flame me, but like
D&D Beyond's archiving is really bad.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm glad I'm not alone in this.
No, it's really bad.
It took me forever to find like the few claimables that I do have. It took me forever to find
where the fuck they are. Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah. Although it's weird because when they have claimables here, they put like claimables. Gale was the most popular Baldur's Gate 3 character.
Yes.
And it's like, now are you talking about the collectible character sheets that you can download?
I think so.
Or okay, because that's what I thought. But then if you also look at
if you click the link, it brings you to those downloadable sheets.
Yeah, it brings you to the okay.
So I assume that's what they're talking about.
It's like there's also Larian released stats for like all the like who's the most popular origin character, and Gale is also the most popular fucking origin character for Baldur's Gate.
Do we want to get into that one, or do we want to wait until we get to Baldur's Gate on this one?
We can wait till we get to the Baldur's Gate part, just because like I figured like, I would just mention that just because it's like they say claimables, Gale, and it's like they give you all the character sheets, which some of the character sheets, like some of the stats, a lot of people I remember complaining like, Jesus Christ, what the hell, Karlak? Yeah. Well, I guess it's like if you want a cool start off, like I don't know.
It's the same stats they probably have in the game.
Probably.
So who the fuck cares? God, people.
I don't know. People who want to, make pre-generated origin characters. Josh. God,
yeah, but don't. On if it's a pre-generated character, God. You don't get to bitch about the stats. It's a pre-generated characters. Shut up and bend over, bitch.
God, people just want to complain.
Yes, people do want to complain.
Oh, actually, shit. No, well, not shit, but like with that, they had the Baldur's Gate character sheets which is weird that they made the character sheets for these guys, but then when it came to
blocks for the movie characters,
the stat block, which I've actually used in my trick saving game, and they're pretty fun. They're pretty good stats. Not gonna lie, pretty fun monsters. But it's weird that they gave them stats and not like character sheets. Like let me like playing those guys. Although Zank is overpowered as fuck. Because of course he is.
Of course he is.
Did you?
Matt, you saw the movie. You know why?
Oh yeah, true. But not only did they give you the characters from the movies, they also gave you a bunch of the items, the legendary, powerful items from the movie.
Side note: the character sheets for the Baldur's Gate characters look so much cooler than what the movie characters got. Way cooler.
Wait, the movie characters or the Baldur's Gate?
No, the Baldur's Gate character sheets, because they have specialized art. They have special character sheets that they made just for them, and they look way cooler.
Yeah,
way cooler.
They're like the tinted, faded, like paper.
They have their own. Yeah, they're special handmade character sheets. They're not like a generic 5e character sheet. They look sick.
Yeah,
they have models of the characters from like rendered models from the game and shit. Like they look dope as shit.
On there, yep.
I do not understand why the movie characters get so shafted. But it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I guess because they're like, we didn't want to put levels on them, maybe. But like, I mean, again, if they're just gonna be pre-gens, who cares? Just give them like 1 to 5 or some basic shit, and there you go. They do that in all their starter packs. Why would the movies be any different?
Also, wait a minute. I just read the part underneath the section about Gale. So it says Gale was the most popular Baldur's Gate 3 character. They neglect to put this in the big image, however. In other news, the most popular claimable of 2023 was the D&D Honor Among Thieves collection.
Yeah.
Why is that not in the image?
Yeah, I don't know. That
wait a minute.
Yeah.
They made the special splash image for Gale, but then didn't make one for the most popular claimable on the entire site?
Because the movie didn't apparently do as well
Why
as
does
they
the
expected.
movie keep getting shafted? What is this shit?
I don't know, man. I feel bad because the movie did.
I didn't realize this before. Now I'm mad.
At the box office, but it didn't like do amazing.
It's doing really good. I think it broke even.
Yeah,
it's actually doing really good on streaming.
Yeah, it's doing well on streaming, which is why they might actually get the show, which will be cool. Because I do want a second movie, but I do. Again, I don't know. Fucking Hasbro gonna be dickheads about it.
I just find it really weird that they're like, yeah, because I initially thought it was saying Gale. I had to reread this carefully. I thought it was saying Gale was the most popular claimable on D&D Beyond. No.
That's what you would think.
Gale is the most popular of the Baldur's Gate 3 claimables. Of all the claimables on the website, it was the D&D Honor Among Thieves collection.
Yeah.
Why is that not in the splash image?
Which, that gave
my
you
point returns. I have beef with these stats. They're why?
He gave you the the characters from the movie, a bunch of magic items, and Thumberchaw digital dice.
Yeah.
Which how do you like digital dice?
I don't give a fuck.
I'm not one of the dice goblins like most D&D people are. Apparently.
If I played in real life, I would be a dice goblin, but for real dice. I don't give a shit about digital dice. What does it matter? You see them for 5 seconds on your phone screen. Who cares? I don't give a shit.
All right.
It's the most pointless. I mean, whatever, D&D Beyond, you do you, but I think it's so pointless.
Yeah. Have you taken a look at the legendary items at all from the movie? Yeah,
it's the items from the movie, whatever.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Way to sound.
Well, look. They're old. They're old. There's nothing. They do exactly what they did in the movie. There's nothing particularly fancy to say about them.
You don't like any of them? Nothing sticks out to you?
No, they're all cool. Man. I mean, I think that putting in the tablet that cast True Resurrection was a little goofy.
Yeah, the tablet and the Horn of Beckoning.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They're all cool and stuff, but like, there's nothing to say. Yeah, they're cool. They're fun. Whatever. There's nothing to say about them. They're a little strong, probably. But
they're all legendary.
That's because they're from a movie, so of course they're strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't have anything to add about them.
Okay.
I'm just annoyed that the movie keeps getting shafted over and over again, and we're pretending like it doesn't exist for some reason. Even though this is what blows my mind. We keep hearing over and over again how, like, from the corporate side of things, oh, the movie didn't do well. People, didn't whatever with the movie, blah, blah, blah. The movie was underperforming. Any person I've ever heard talk about it was like, nah, the movie was awesome. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Are the executives' heads so far up their asses they're just blind? Like, I
don't know if you remember this, but I remember a lot of the higher ups and the investors of Hasbro basically being like, put as much marketing into this. This is going to be the next like Guardians of the Galaxy, but fantasy. Like, this is our MCU shot. And I'm looking, the movie cost $150 million to make, and it made $208 million, which was only give or take a $50 million,
I think that's an old number. I do think it's been doing more once it went to once it's gone to streaming. I think it's been doing more.
It made more money on streaming?
I think so. Yes, I believe so.
How
does that work? I don't know how streaming deals work,
This is box office. So this is in theaters. This is what
yeah. So that's not accounting for the streaming money.
It's not counting
for
the
understanding.
Streaming. Or like I bought the Blu-ray. Like I fucking the physical media.
To my knowledge, when it went to streaming, because so word of mouth wise, it was doing so well. Word of mouth, a lot of people ended up watching it stream on. Because I think it was on Peacock. A lot of people ended up watching it online on Peacock, and it's been making a good amount of money there. How exactly the money making works, I am not 100% sure, but to my very basic understanding, it's sort of like a YouTube thing where number of views and like retention time. So the company pays to have the movie on their, or the company puts the movie on the platform. The company, the streaming service tracks the numbers it gets, and then the company that puts the movie out on the thing gets like a kickback, basically. Like, basically Peacock is like, your movie got a lot of attention, which means it drove customers to our platform. Here's a kickback for that. Is I think how it works. I think. All I know is I heard people mention that once it went to streaming, it did quite a bit better than they were expecting.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. So the box office numbers being not amazing is potentially being made up for. That's what I'm getting.
And again, it made, like, usually when it comes to movies, in order to like make a profit, what was it? I forgot who said this. It was like or maybe I got it from like Kevin Smith or some shit.
Probably.
Usually you would have to make double like what the movie costs in order to break even or to like make
because
a profit.
Of things like marketing and stuff.
Which unfortunately this movie did not. So I guess according to Hasbro, they're like, it is a failure in the box office. But like,
right. Well, it's a little bit of a confusing situation too, because you got to keep in mind. So the movie came out just a little bit after, COVID, which, people were still hesitant. So there was still some weirdness around going to the theater, right? So that was part of it. The movie also got pushed back because of COVID.
Was this year? Would you COVID like that big? Do you think? For, like,
the movie was in 22,
23,
22.
No, 23. March 23.
23.
We saw it. Yeah, we saw. That's why we're talking about it.
Right. You're right. Sorry. Either way,
I was gonna say because it came out. March, only 2 months after the OGL. Do you think that might have?
That's another thing. It was the OGL situation. I do still think people are hesitant about movie theaters because I've been hearing a lot of talk about that across the board in regards to other movies and stuff. So I do still think there was some still, yes.
I've been to a shit ton of movies after COVID already. Huh?
It's particularly in the beginning of the year. I think it was March is only the third month, right? So there was still that hesitancy. There was also the whole situation with E1 and Hasbro being in a really weird spot because E1 was doing really shit and they put all this money into it and they were trying to sell it. So they needed the movie to do better so they could potentially sell it for more. And so there's a lot of that weirdness going on too. So they probably wanted it to do a lot better. Like, I bet you money Hasbro was hoping it was going to do a lot better than it was ever reasonably going to do, Like, they probably had pretty unreasonable expectations for it, if I were to take a guess.
It's the same when, like,
also,
Larian or what was I forgot the company that made Dark Alliance, where they had to fight. Yeah, I know.
That was bad. That was a bad situation. That was bad.
I feel bad because I played Dark Alliance. I bought it when it came out. I was bought into the hype.
Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, I know. But like, I wanted the game to be good, and I remember literally watching the videos where the game directors were talking how they had to go and fight tooth and nail two wizards to let them make this game. And apparently the same thing happened with Larian, where Larian's like, they had to fight tooth and nail to make a Baldur's Gate 3.
They did, but the difference, it seemed, as far as I could tell, the difference seems to have been once they secured that Baldur's Gate license, Wizards of the Coast kind of let them do their thing, whereas the Dark Alliance dev team, they did not give that freedom, to my understanding.
No, I think because they were a newer studio and they needed the money, so Wizards like, okay, we will buy. I think they bought out their studio. I don't remember. They bought the studio.
They bought it,
all right, you're now part of Wizards, and we're gonna fund you and shit. But I guess in exchange, they're like, all right, this is the small window you have to release the game. And it's like, oh, fuck.
Well, it was a small window, and I think I remember hearing Wizards also did a lot of oversight for the game, which is
never a good thing.
Almost always bad, unfortunately. Yeah. So there was a lot of stuff working against Dark Alliance. But yeah, I think there was a lot of things working against the movie too. It's also, it's an untested IP. D&D is still small in the grander scheme of media. There's a lot of things working against that movie. So, personally, I think if I was Wizards of the Coast, I would be championing the shit out of that movie as much as I could. Like, I don't understand how we didn't get a fucking supplement for that movie. We didn't get an adventure or something. We got a couple of character sheets. We got the marketing before the movie. That was kind of it. Like, they don't talk about it.
They had the whole thing where they're like, "Oh, it's Prisoner 13 in the book." Yeah. No mention of the player. Like,
it just doesn't. If I was Wizards of the Coast, I'd be trying to sing the praises of that fucking movie because I've not heard anyone. I've barely heard anyone. I should say not, but I've barely heard anyone talk bad about it. And it's the kind of, we made the joke last time, consume content until next content, right?
Yeah.
The movie is the kind of consume content until next content that people actually want.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the kind of thing people want.
So I found, the guy, I found the name when the Book of Many Things came out, the video, the deep dive. Jason Toronto, senior game designer,
Yes.
Get him
to talk about everything.
Get him to just be the guy. Just be the new face of D&D.
The new guy. Yeah.
Yeah, just talk about the movie, hype shit up, just have him, because he has such an energy and a love about the game. I feel like if he was the one kind of pitching or maybe trying to
I really hope
to the C-suite and fucking Hasbro or Wizards and just be like, listen, we can do this, trust us, guys, look how successful, look what people are willing to buy shit like this. Apparently Wizards D&D is getting Pop-Tarts this year.
They are getting Pop-Tarts, yeah.
They're finally they're finally getting the thing where they're like, D&D is finally breaking out of the media. We're finally going to be in other things besides this fucking game. And
right, which again is another reason to push the fucking movie.
Yeah.
God, I hope that movie gets a sequel. Here's what I want.
I just want a T-shirt of Edwin when he's
and when he's all fucked up.
No, yeah, all
the
fucked
illusion.
Up. Yeah.
He's all fucked up. Yeah, that'd be great on a shirt. Yeah, no, that'd be great.
That was a good
such a wild scene. Yeah. I really hope that movie gets a sequel because I really want them. First of all, they set up a sequel, right? They had my boy Zaz Tam in there just chilling in the background, all casual. You got the sequel bait. It's right there.
Or better yet,
also,
you would be probably cheaper and
than Zaz Tam.
Well, no. You know what'd be cheaper? I would say cheaper-ish.
Cheaper-ish. Yeah.
Cheaper-ish. Do an animated thing. That could be
maybe
in some departments. It'd probably be more money or it'd be more time consuming. But if you did another animated
show about that group.
Yeah. Or hey, something recently just happened. X-Men '97. Why not just fucking do the '80s cartoon again and just be pick it back up?
Oh, I'll do one better. I'll do you one better. You do the '80s cartoon, and then the movie characters appear in the '80s cartoon.
Yeah, right. That'd be fucking sick.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because they were in the movie.
I know.
Yeah. Look at Critical Role. Look, they may not only had a successful Kickstarter, but then after said Kickstarter, they managed to go to Amazon and be like, put our show on your platform, please give us money. And they went, okay. Right now, as someone who grew up a fantasy fan, loving Lord of the Rings and all that shit, we're fucking eating good. We're eating good in so many medias and shit.
True. No, I'm agree. Yeah,
it's you think that with all this stuff and again, I'm mad about the Dragonlance stuff. I'm not going to get too into it because Joe Manganiello already did it.
Yeah.
But you would think that they would want, and I know it costs money. I know. And it's a gamble.
Yeah, but you got to spend money to make money.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. So why not just do a test pilot? Let Papa Joe Let him cook with Dragonlance.
Let
and
him
see
cook.
what happens.
Let him cook. I mean, here's my thing. I don't think a sequel to the movie would be that much of a gamble. Because
I don't think so either.
Because I think word of mouth has been so positive around it that if you make a sequel and then marketing push the fucking shit out of it, and then all the people who are like, the first one's really good, and then they drag all their other nerd friends and just be like, trust me, just push the shit out of that bitch, I think it could work.
Chris Pine is still getting people asking him about, is there going to be a sequel? And other shit that he's working on. He'll like,
really?
I think during
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, when he was working, they did an interview with him for Wish, unfortunately. And during that, people were like, "Oh, well, you know,
about
any
the D&D
word on
movie?
what's on the D&D sequel?" And he's just like, "Listen, there are talks. I can't say."
Oh, that's right. Yes, I do remember him saying that. But he said he was really. I remember him also saying he was down to do it.
Yeah, he was down to do it. He's like, I'll jump back into it, or he's like, if they, you know, they just need to call me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. We get the, you know, he's down for it. Chris Pine. Everyone loves Chris Pine. Like, fine.
Look at that chin.
Look at him. Look at that strong jawline.
Chiseled jawline.
But like, you could like, I get it. They just need to champion more. They need to spend some money.
Just go in hard.
Now is the time. I get that they're like afraid because they're like, oh, Hasbro lost $1 billion. We might need to sell off IP and shit. Oh, Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, but the D&D is not the one to sell off.
No, well, I don't think they're going to sell off D&D. I think they said that they're more likely to sell off Transformers than G.I. Joe than D&D yet.
I could see that.
I was surprised by as well.
Unfortunate, but I could see it.
But if you think about it, you do these like little things because again, people are kind of mixed right now on not only Hasbro but on Wizards of the Coast. How much fan like not trust isn't the word, but how much like positive energy will you win by doing shit like these other and you're branching out. You're branching out the thing that these people want.
Yeah,
they
branching
want
out.
D&D, like because there's look at Stranger Things,
but the important thing is
it helped influence the game and like make it like reach a wider audience.
Well, I think the important thing to note is
shows and other outside media like fuck
branching out in the way people want, right? That's the important thing.
Yeah,
because remember the whole D&D is under monetized, right? Movies and video games and shit is the kind of monetizing people want. That's the kind of shit people are cool with. That's
if you make a good show. Look how, like you've been to conventions, Josh. How much fucking Sons of Anarchy things have you seen?
Sons of Anarchy.
And how long has that show been off the air for? Like you do that shit.
I mean, I don't know Sons of Anarchy, so I bad gauge on that one.
All right,
but I get what you mean. Right. Yes. Yeah. I mean,
still see their merch.
You still see Breaking Bad come up in the conversation a lot.
You still see Breaking Bad. You still see Game of Thrones. Yes, House of the Dragon. But like still like older Game of Thrones shit. Logos, T-shirts, Harry Potter. Like all. Sorry, I can't mention Harry Potter anymore.
What wizards? Nobody's what?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
We don't talk about those kind of wizards.
Yeah,
British wizards are bad.
I don't even know. Like I think we mentioned this last time too. We're like, they just need to learn better marketing. Maybe
it does feel like that. Yeah, it kind of feels like it.
Yeah,
it's weird.
What
happened? We just both went to a fugue state. Where are we?
Yeah. Speaking of marketing, you know what is very marketable? Characters.
No.
So
all right.
They have this.
So the next stat. Back to the D&D Beyond article.
Yeah, this next stat, which is, I mean, one of them is kind of just a blah answer. I feel like where it's like average age of characters created is 28. And it's like, okay, that's sure.
You know what my response to that is? Literally, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, that one's a little. Yeah,
who the fuck cares? That is the stupid. I was like, who? Why did you put that?
It's like I want my character to be adult, but I don't want to be old, like a 30-year-old. And it's like, okay,
yeah. All right, cool. So most characters are my age. Great, good to know. Like I don't give a fuck. It's so stupid.
But the other one though, the average current level of characters created 4.77.
I mean
that one's weird because, like, most D&D campaigns end at 10. So this is basically most like five and a half, 5, let's say.
That makes sense. Yeah, most characters are in the middle. That checks out.
That's interesting that there are average current levels of people in the game is level 5. That's
I think this one, all right, listen, we have to keep in mind.
It's a better stat.
It's a better stat. Yes, the character age one is fucking stupid. I literally don't understand why they bothered. That one annoyed the shit out of me. The epitome of who the fuck no one fucking asked.
No one's doing that like my players, and you're all going to anime college and magic.
But like, so the character level thing, we have to keep in mind, all right, with all of these D&D Beyond stats, but this one in particular, there is a massive, I'm not going to say majority because I don't know, but there's a massive section of D&D players who are effectively the silent, unseen players that play in person without D&D Beyond, or, like me and Matt, play online, but not with D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
So this number, I would bet you money would be a lot higher if you could include all of the people who play regularly in person without D&D Beyond. And why do I say that Why do I say that number would be way higher? Because those kinds of players are probably going to be the much more dedicated players, and I bet you those motherfuckers got some long ass campaigns under their belts.
Yeah.
D&D Beyond is the casual gateway drug to D&D.
Yeah.
That's really something you got to take into account with all of these stats. This D&D Beyond is the gateway drug website. This is the website you use if you want to have your friend play D&D, but he's too fucking lazy to write on a piece of paper and doesn't want to do the math his goddamn self. So you give him D&D Beyond, you say make an account on this and build your character on this. This is the gateway drug. So of course there's going to be a lot more casual players on D&D Beyond. And I could be wrong about that, but I don't feel like I'm wrong about that.
No.
You know?
I wish, because I know Roll20 every year, they
have
produce
stats
that
too.
little, like, they have their stats.
By the way, there's another stat coming up that reinforces my point with this one, but of what I just said. But yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
But yeah, no, the Roll20 stat, they only release like games. Like how much percentage of our player base is
they don't do like individual, like here's the D&D stats or whatever.
And it's usually like here's 60% of our player base is playing D&D.
They may not
20% is playing Call of Cthulhu or something. They may not
at least
last year, that's what it was.
Their data may not be that precise though. It's hard to say.
Yeah, like that's why they give the bigger percentages instead.
Maybe. I don't know.
They're like, which that I can believe them, because it's like it's easier to see how many like percentage of people are playing certain games because they have the little like sidebar where you can say games and everything, rather than like individual people or whatever, or how long campaigns are running for, because people probably make campaigns all the time and one shots and then just leave that page open, never delete it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean
that happens
for
a
sure.
lot. Yeah.
There's a lot of that going around, obviously, which is also why you have to take stats like this with a grain of salt. But yeah, the average player one, I think the average character level one, I think is really, really indicative of the kinds of players we're getting on D&D. That tells us a lot.
Yeah. Which is either very new, like you were saying,
a lot of new players or players who are being invited from a friend, and a lot of games that are very like dipping their toe in it style games. I think that's a lot of D&D Beyond, which makes sense. I mean, that is kind of what they want, so it makes sense. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's a thing. That being said, the fact that so few newer players get into the higher levels of game, that's a bit of information that's probably more worth paying attention to, because I think that's indicative of a bit of a problem with the game.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how well the book of the Vecna book does.
Ooh, I'm gonna say not well.
See, that's the thing. Like, according to the numbers, it shouldn't do well.
I'm gonna say not well.
I'm wondering if the build up and everything and Stranger Things, like if the book, I mean, maybe the book will sell well, but like the reception to it is it going to be like because it starts at level 10. So I'm wondering if it's like, oh, okay, so it's a Wizards of the Coast adventure where you go from level 10 to 15, and then you jump to 20 at the end to fight Vector.
Yep.
Because I can see them pulling that, but because they haven't done a level 10 to 20 besides Mad Mage. But Mad Mage was gigantic fucking dungeons, where if you beat a level, you fucking level up because you just went through a whole dungeon.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I do feel like that adventure's not going to potentially do, but hopefully it does well enough to feel like it's worth it to do that kind of thing at least once in a while.
More than once every 10 years.
Yes, okay, more than once every 10 years.
When did whenever Mad Mage came out, whatever
a while ago.
2018.
Yeah.
Some shit.
More than once every 5 years.
Yeah, like fuck. But then we get to names, which is, I don't know. I this is also, I feel like it's funny, which is probably why they put this in here. But I also feel like this whole thing is kind of pointless. No,
no, Matt. I got something locked and loaded for this baby.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Names.
What are your thoughts? Yeah.
The most popular name. It's still Bob.
Lamar.
All right. Complaint number one. Motherfucker, you didn't give us any numbers. You didn't say 5% of characters are named Bob, 10% of characters are named Bob, 95% of characters are named Bob. Motherfucker, give me a number. Don't just say the most popular. Give me a fucking stat, you sons of bitches.
Yeah, like they did with the other one where it's like most growth.
Yeah.
Link at 23%.
Most growth. Link with 23%. Serafina with 18%. Lyra with 6%.
So Link I can understand because the new Zelda game came out this year. I don't know what the other two are from though. I'm not
I don't know what the other two are, but they definitely remind me of they sound like they're from something. But it doesn't really matter. And then most declined.
Yeah, this is a weird one.
Bruno, Eddie, and Rando. I think it's funny that Rando declined.
I like that Rando. Yeah, I like that Rando's a name because that would also be like a NPC name you would give somebody.
Yeah,
you're like, all right,
Rando Randerson. Okay, why? So the Bob thing. What do I think is really interesting about Bob? So this stat on its own, maybe not that interesting, but in combination with a stat, with the two stats after it, I think tells us a lot. I think that the fact that Bob is the most popular name, again, really tells us about the kind of players we have / we are getting on D&D Beyond. Because why is Bob the most popular name? Because if you're generic white man in America and you're trying to think of generic default name, you're generally going to think of Steve or Bob.
Or John.
Or like maybe John, right? Like those are your generic white man names. And Bob sounds kind of funny. So a lot of people are like, hee, name my character Bob. Because again, like I said with the player level, the kinds of characters we're getting, not characters, the kinds of players we're getting, the kinds of players we're getting on D&D Beyond are new players. Like,
yeah, so they're like, they don't want to roll on the table.
They don't want to think about it. They don't want to roll on the table. They're like, fuck it. He's a fighter named Bob. I don't care.
Make a quick character.
Yeah,
B.O.B.
Literally, what's happening here, right? What is this? It's funny because it seems like this is a really innocuous data point, but I think this one actually tells us a lot. What's happening here? You know, Jim, the GM, who's been running D&D for 5 years, wants to get his fucking girlfriend into D&D or whatever. I know GMs don't normally have girlfriends, but, you know, let's just pretend for a moment, if we will. Jim, the GM wants to get his girlfriend fucking Morticia or fucking Periwinkle or Lyra or some shit, because you know a GM's dating some crazy bitches. Did I just call myself out?
I would say you want to keep going.
Yeah, did I just call myself out? I might have. Anyway. Shit, I lost my train of thought now. Fuck. And, he says to Morticia, hey, I really want you to try out D&D. And she's like, all right, fine. I guess I'll try. She's like, I don't really want to. She doesn't want to put the energy in. She's like, this is a lot of work. There's a lot of fucking rules or whatever. She's like, Jim, can I make this easier? And Jim says, I got you, Morticia. I don't know why I went with this one. I got you, Morticia. Use D&D Beyond. And she goes, okay, I'll use this. It does most of the work for you because that's what D&D Beyond's for. And lo and behold, she makes a human fighter and goes, he needs a name. I don't know, Bob. And that's it, because she's not really that emotionally invested. Now, granted, if she gets really invested in this first campaign, her first character will be named Bob, but her second character is going to be named Thrognir, the Blazing Flame, Lord of the Seven Hells, Elven Warrior of the Gods, because that's always how it goes.
A name on D&D Beyond, or is it
no, I'm saying in a second campaign.
Oh, because I can see what people do is they put Bob as a placeholder name as well.
Oh, and then replace it. I can see that. Yeah,
then they can think about it later. You're like, all right, you're like, all right, Morgan, what?
No, Morticia.
What's your
respect
Morticia?
On her name?
All right, sure. Like, all right, Morticia, what do you want? What do you want Bob's actual name to be? And she's like,
Throndir.
Throndir. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I honestly think that's what it is. I think it's like...
No, actually, Link. I want it to be Link.
Yeah, I want it to be Link. I just played Breath of the Wild. I want it to be Link. No, I really think it's... D&D Beyond is the gateway drug. And so the GMs are trying to get their friends into D&D Beyond. Or into D&D. And so they use D&D Beyond to make the experience easier. And, I think a lot of people... This is a theory. I am not a social scientist, so I have no way to collect this data as much as I would love to. But I have a theory that a lot of people come to D&D treating it like a board game and looking at it through the lens of board games, because tabletop is this weird, unique thing that's really hard to explain and understand. So the closest thing you people have is board games, right? So if you're playing a board game, right, or a card game like Munchkin or something like that, or you're playing Talisman, and they're like, you should name your character to get more invested. It doesn't really matter what you name your character in fucking Talisman. I don't actually know if Talisman tells you to do this, but let's pretend. It doesn't matter what you call your character in Talisman. So you're just going to be like, whatever, he's Bob. It's fine. I'm just going to play Bob. Because you're not emotionally invested in your character, because it's not really your character. You're just playing a board game, and you're going to play for 2 or 3 hours, and then you're going to all stop because you're too hammered to keep playing or whatever. And then you're going to do something else. D&D is a much deeper emotional investment, but you don't know that if you haven't played D&D. So what happens? You go, okay, it's kind of like a board game. Oh, I need to name my character? I don't know, Bob's the first thing that came to mind. I'll just call him Bob. It's fine. And then you play Bob for 53 sessions. And all of a sudden, Bob has the traumatic backstory and a deeply lived life where he loved his wife, and then she was stolen and killed by a dragon. And now the other players are taking revenge on the dragon to avenge Bob's dead wife and save the kingdom. And next thing you know, you're crying over Bob because then he died fighting the dragon, and nobody had a wish spell or a resurrection or anything. And it's just, but you don't know any of that's going to happen when you first start playing. So you do dumb shit like name your character Bob. So it's just this. I know this sounds like an insane rant about the most popular name being Bob, but I really think this is actually kind of interesting. This is kind of interesting because it really tells us, I think, who's using D&D Beyond. And granted, Matt, for sure, I think you're right. A certain degree of people are using it as a placeholder name. I absolutely think that's the thing. But I bet you money a lot of people are just playing Bob the Human Fighter.
Yeah.
Because, you don't know, because you don't know what you're getting into the first time you play D&D unless you've watched a lot of actual plays or someone's explained it to you really well. But most people don't explain it very well because it's kind of hard to explain. So you come in, you don't know what's going on, you're not that emotionally invested, so you make Bob the Human Fighter, and then you just kind of see what happens. But then your next character is Lord Darkamond, fucking Bane of the Seven Hells, Warrior Prince of Avernus, because you're really invested in that second. Literally, this is literally what Critical Role did. I just want to point this out. Critical Role, first campaign, all the characters are like kind of goofy, haha. Second, Jesus Christ, fucking Travis's character is named Grog. My man named it after beer. No, sorry, rum. Grog is rum.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of goofy, haha nonsense. Campaign 2, everyone's playing the deep, dark backstory edgelord. Like, it happens all over and over and over again. It's crazy. It's hilarious. And then Link, Link is just because people think Link is cool and Link kind of feels like a D&D character. So,
yeah. Well, again, the game came out that year, so.
Well, that too, but I think Link's always been popular because he's Link, like it's Link. I mean, I even said when we did our fighter episode, my quintessential fighter was Link, and I don't even like Zelda. So, it's Link. The other names, I don't know what's going on with those. Brando on the decline is kind of funny though.
That's funny. Yeah.
That one's funny. All right, rant over now. I know that was an insane rant about Bob, but I had to say something.
I didn't really have anything else to really say or add to this game.
I know, and I just went on for 5 minutes.
Interesting. Yeah, it's all good.
I don't know. I saw it, and I was like, this is fascinating.
I like how they gave the reasoning behind Eddie, though, being like, oh, Stranger Things has been gone for a while, so, Eddie. And you're like, okay.
Maybe,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, I was like, sure. I don't know.
I guess.
But next up is Species. So this is like one of the, out of all of these, the two next like stats that I'm like the most interested in because, of course, I am. Obviously, species, most popular races, species, whatever, fucking heritage, whatever you want to call these things. For D&D in general, the top 3, as fucking most people would
human,
suspect.
Elf, Dragonborn.
See, the weird thing is though, I would always suspect it's human elf, half elf, or human half elf, elf.
Yeah.
And I like that because I like Dragonborn, but I like that Dragonborn are like getting up there now.
I think people just think Dragon cool.
Yeah, same. That's why I like them. Dragon cool.
Besides, since I was complaining about how the stats were presented before, I don't like that we don't get any hard numbers here. So
they kind of give a rust that like,
they give an estimate, and I don't like it.
Humans are over 700,000. Elves are a little over. Yeah. Yeah.
So to give just for audience sake here,
yeah.
So they gave a bar graph chart of the species, and it's human and a little over 700,000. Then there's elf that's a little over 500,000. Dragonborn that's like 250 or maybe 300,000.
It goes down the line.
Scale, it goes from left to right and it goes down the line. The scale on the right is not consistent, however, so it's not a very useful bar graph to read because it's not accurate numbers, and they don't give you hard numbers anywhere in the article. So unfortunately, you're just kind of looking at the bars. The numbers are kind of pointless.
Well, it's weird because in the article they say here, like, we see the roughly 8,000 Aarakocra players, and it's like Aarakocras are just under 80,000. Yeah. You're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think this species thing tells us the exact same thing that Bob told us, and that it's D&D Beyond as gateway drug, and people go, okay, have to make a character in a fantasy world. Well, I watched Lord of the Rings. Aragorn seemed cool. I'll play a human because humans. And then and then the next guy goes, all right, well, I thought Legolas was good. Morticia's playing Bob the human fighter because she likes Aragorn, and then Steve.
Someone's playing Link.
Steve is, someone's playing Link. We don't talk about Link guy. But then Steve is like, well, I thought Legolas was cool, so like I'll play an elf. Because elf is sort of the next fantasy thing you think of. So I think this tells us kind of the same information, that new players come in via D&D Beyond and they go for the most default, obvious, direct route. Because why wouldn't they? Yeah.
And again, I like Dragonborn getting more love. Tieflings have gotten so much love in 5e. It's
so
I love that their lore is basically like they're outsiders, they're outcasts because infernal, And literally everyone's like, oh my God, look how hot they are. And it's just like, God damn it.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Just for the sake of to go down the whole list. So in order of popularity, I'm not going to bother giving the numbers because they didn't give us hard numbers. So I'm not going to give hard numbers. I'm not going to try and guesstimate. It goes human, then elf, dragonborn, tiefling, half elf, dwarf, halfling, half orc, genasi, gnome, Goliath, Azamar, Aarakocra, lineage, which is the stuff from Van Richten's guide, the Hexborn, the Dampier, and the Reborn. The Hexblood, the Dampier, and the Reborn, sorry. And then custom lineage, which, that's probably just power gamers, to be honest.
So actually, fun thing about the whole lineage thing. Remember, actually, I don't remember if I talked to you about this. In Modern Canon, they changed the name of all the races to lineage, which you might be saying, wait, but Matt, I thought lineage was its own thing, like the Reborn and the Dampier.
Well, I thought lineages were sub-races specifically.
That's what I fucking thought. But apparently in Modern Canon's Tome of Foe, or Modern Canon's Multiverse, whatever book, all the races are called lineages now. Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Modern Canon presents, God.
Magnificent Mansion. Magnificent Hound. Anyway, so
Monsters,
now
Mordenkainen presents Monsters of the Multiverse.
Yes, but now lineage is not only a term for the three, like the undead ones from Van Richten's guide. Now it's all the ones from the Mordenkainen book, which is very weird. But like,
all right, so I don't know what to do with that number.
That's a lot of races to lump up.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that number. Then that's kind of a useless number. Then.
But I'll just say also for the Aarakocra, Goliath, and Genasi ones being on here, I didn't really think about this until way back. There was I think when Princes of the Elemental,
it's the Elemental Evil
Apocalypse came out.
Supplement.
Yeah, the Elemental Evil book PDF that was free.
Yeah,
which is also free on D&D Beyond. Yeah. So a lot of people pick that, and now you have a shit ton of Aarakocras around.
Yeah, and also flying.
Yeah, and flying. Yeah, flying cool.
Flying cool.
But yeah, no, I agree. And again, most of these are player handbook races, so of course they would be like the most popular ones as well, because that's the most basic ones you get.
And a lot of them are in the basic rules.
Yeah, a lot of them are in the basic rules as well. I do like comparing this and looking at it between this and then what people were doing in Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes to like their races of choice, because it's almost identical, except for like one or two minor tweaks, like half elves in Baldur's Gate being the most popular. It's like, okay, yeah, because for a while the most popular races were like humans, elves, and half elves. I like that half elves, at least for the D&D side, are kind of, not in the top 3. I mean, the top 5. So, but they're still like cool. And I don't want them erased like Wizards of the Coast wants them erased, but I just don't want them to be like fucking abundant as they were.
Well,
but according to Baldur's Gate, fuck me.
I mean, it is very worth pointing out that I think the context of Baldur's Gate 3 being a video game drastically affects these numbers and how people think. So,
yeah, definitely.
I don't know if they correlate or connect as just people.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that in a second. Let's stay on D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
Let's stay on D&D.
Like, you want to stay on D&D Beyond?
Yeah, stay on D&D Beyond. We'll get around to Boulders.
Okay.
We'll get around to Mr. Baldur.
Okay, and then going into the classes, which again, another.
This one was probably the absolute least surprising chart of them all.
Yeah, true.
Zero surprise.
Actually, no, I will say the one thing I am surprised. There's a part of me that's surprised and the part of me that's not surprised. Obviously, fighter is
number 1.
Rogue number 2.
Bob
that's
the human fighter. Yes, as we've learned, as I've said. I mean, just to reiterate that point again. D&D Beyond is the gateway drug. Bob the Human Fighter is the easiest, lowest barrier to entry option. All the new players go with Bob the Human Fighter. It's just
100%.
Yeah, that's why I was saying the Bob thing is interesting because it correlates with the species and class choices of human and fighter being the highest. So Bob the Human Fighter is that is D&D.
Yes, yeah.
In many ways.
Rogue being number 2, I wasn't.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
That doesn't surprise me. I always think rogues are in the top 4, at least
Always.
top 3, always.
Also, keep in mind, rogues are in the basic rules.
True, yeah. Barbarian, this is the one that I'm surprised that's at least top 3. Not that it's not in the top 5, but the fact that it's in the top 3. Well, I guess because it's the other it's the other one of the other marshals. It's not complicated. Like barbarians are really easy to play. Least complicated. Yeah.
I also think a lot of people see shit like Conan and are like, I want to play Angry Man Who Smash.
Yeah.
It's just very straightforward. Even if you don't know how the rules of the game work, mentally, the idea of a barbarian is very straightforward.
Yeah.
Big man smash.
And then out of all the casters, obviously Wizard being the most popular caster.
That Wizard is the most popular because Wizard has the best marketing.
Yes.
It's
in the name of the company.
It's in the name of the company. Anyone who watches Lord of the Rings and goes, Gandalf, Wizard, Harry Potter, like Wizard has the best marketing amongst the spellcasters. Of course, it's going to be the top spellcaster. That surprises me not at all.
Yeah, although I'm like looking to just to go down the line, like before I go down the rest of the line, it is strange that most of the other ones are roughly around the same at the 200K mark, or at least a little over.
I don't think that surprises me. I think that makes sense. I think the classes are pretty evenly distributed in terms of people liking them in 5e. So the chart being quite close to each other with the one obvious exception at the end there is not that surprising to me.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. But yes, go down them in the order real quick.
Yeah, so Fighter, Rogue, Barb, Wizard, and then going down the rest of them, Paladin at number 5, then Warlock, then Cleric, which I'm surprised Cleric is right here. I figured they'd be a little higher because Cleric is so iconic.
Intimidating to play, and people don't want to play healers, even though they're not really healers, but people are.
Yeah, suppose. Ranger next, which I'm surprised Ranger is this high up because of all the people. Yeah, well, I know, but like people poo-pooing on Rangers and stuff.
Right, but hardcore fans poo-poo on Ranger, not casuals.
Yeah, I guess.
You gotta remember, you have to assume that basically all of these numbers are mostly driven by casual players. True. Because D&D Beyond. Which is kind of the whole thing I've been getting at this whole time.
Yeah. Bards next, then Druids, Sorcerer, and then actually under the 200K, we have Sorcerers, Monks,
Monk, and Artificer.
And then way below that is Artificer, which that makes sense because they're the newest class and not a lot. They're also probably one of, if not the most complicated, ?
I don't even think it's that. I don't think it's about them being the most complicated. I mean, they are a more complicated class, but I honestly think Artificer is the lowest because Wizard has the best marketing. Artificer has the worst marketing. I don't think people really know or understand what an Artificer is supposed to be unless you unless you're a really big D&D nerd. It's not clear what an Artificer is necessarily, so people kind of steer away from it because they don't get it.
Yeah,
I really think
you're a magic guy, but you use tools, and it's like, what am I supposed to do with that? And it's like, Jace Arcane, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy. But yeah, no, overall, I mean, again, this list makes a lot of sense. Again, Fighter number 1. Again, I guess, because again, most of these, they're so close together that you could just swap any of these, like within the 200K mark, it would make sense.
Yeah, I think it checks out. This chart did not surprise me. It just reinforced my whole point about Bob.
And then, do you want to go into the Baldur's Gate now?
We can look at the mobile app thing.
The class.
No. We'll get back around. We still got a little bit more on D&D Beyond here.
Okay. Well, I figured it would be relevant because the class and not going over the entire.
No. We're almost done with the D&D Beyond one. Let's just finish it out.
Okay. Mobile app. 13 million searches. That's. Okay.
I mean, Dragon
top words, Druid and Dragon.
Yeah, so 13 million searches, and the top words are Druid and Dragon. I mean, the top words being Druid and Dragon, I think is kind of funny. I think the reasons are pretty obvious to me here. Dragon is just because people want to fight a dragon in their game. I think that's just Druid. I think is just because people are trying to figure out what animals druids can change into.
Well, I was gonna also say, because later on there's, spoiler, there's an article specifically about druids, and I think that kind of
that could be part of it. Yeah,
there's a lot of new players.
That's
like
true.
As we looked at this list, druids are in the bottom 4.
Yeah.
So probably it's like, how the fuck do I druid?
How do I druid? Yes. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like people are. Yeah. That's basically what I'm saying. Is people are confused about druids. So
and most people don't pick druids as their first character for D&D in general.
Definitely not.
And those that do immediately regret
Mad
because
lads.
they're like, fuck. Mobile app, 7 million spells were cast, which
this is just
how judge
it. I'm pretty sure this is what I mean. This is what I mean where I'm like, how are you getting these numbers? This is why this article is like kind of annoying. I think what they're saying, 7 million spells cast, is in D&D Beyond. They are pressing the button to activate the spell to make the roll. I think that's all this is saying.
Okay.
That tells you nothing. There's nothing to glean from that because I could just be sitting there on my phone and hitting the hee roll button 500 times for fun. Like this, 7 million spells were cast in the mobile app. Like, who the fuck cares?
I'm gonna keep rolling fireball until I roll max damage.
Yeah, it doesn't. This is a nothing. This is a nothing burger. I have nothing. Who cares?
Mobile app, 1.9 million players rolled dice.
Yeah,
141 million times.
This one, I think, is kind of interesting. If nothing else, it just shows that the mobile app is doing quite well.
Yeah.
The mobile app's doing good, which I think is kind of funny. Like, I don't know. I assume, D&D Beyond started primarily as a website thing, but the fact that it's such a mobile app, like the fact that the mobile app does so well, I think, I don't know, maybe other companies should look at this and really consider utilizing a mobile app for their game, because it seems like that's a fucking ticket in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So. And then
I mean, look at was it Monopoly Go and all that shit?
Yeah, yes, Monopoly Go. Holy shit, Monopoly Go.
It made so much money. It's crazy.
So stupid.
6 million new characters created, and character sheets open 80 million times.
The open one, I think, is kind of goofy.
Yeah, the open one's goofy, but like 6 million new characters. I wish they had like stats rolled or something like as a number. Like that would have been funny. Where it's like how many people rolled stats versus take like average or point by or whatever the fuck.
Oh, that's true. That would be interesting. I think I just find the 6 million new characters were created is interesting in that I think it just shows even if people aren't playing, people are still invested in the game and the property outside. Because like clearly that's not 6 million people for 6 million different campaigns. A huge portion of that is one guy makes 10 fucking characters theory crafting his Hexasorkadin builds or whatever.
Yeah.
But
because I'm looking at this and it's like 6 million here, but if you go back to the beginning where it's like 180 million characters were played, and it's like, wait a minute.
Well, and NPCs.
NPCs, yeah, I guess.
Which is another reason why that number's not useful. Because they lump two things together. Yeah, I think the 6 million characters is just a good indicator that people are really invested in D&D, whether they're in a campaign or not. They're still invested. They're still making characters for funsies. It just shows that people are fucking deep in that rabbit hole, baby, just like we are. Heads way up our ass. Beautiful. Beautiful thing. Opening the character sheet, who the fuck cares?
Yeah, no, yeah.
That one's irrelevant. And then lastly, the top 5 articles.
Yeah, which going back to earlier,
very funny.
We're like, why is Druid the top fucking story? Yeah. Yeah. Druid 101 wild shape guide. Yep. And it's like, yeah, fucking course. Yep. Like people are like, how to Druid, please help.
Yeah.
Creating your first Dungeons and Dragons character with D&D Beyond.
Yep.
Reiterating your point of like the filthy casuals.
Yep.
D&D Beyond virtual tabletop, a closer look.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's talking about maps.
Probably.
What is Dungeons and Dragons? Okay, fucking we're all philosophical over here.
Yep.
And then I like the last one, which I don't know if this is also kind of going in the druid or this is just a general like embracing your wild side, playing as a lycanthrope in D&D.
Yeah. The last one I find a little weird. I think the other four, I think all four. So the Druid 101, how to create your first D&D character, D&D virtual tabletop, and what is D&D. I think all four of those just reinforce, all agree with my point that D&D Beyond is how you get the casual players in the game, and all of the casual players are using D&D Beyond to learn about the game. And so anytime you see any stats or anything related to D&D Beyond, or look at the lens of the game through D&D Beyond, you are looking at the lens of it via the casual player base. And that's, I think that's just it. That's just a good thing to keep in mind if you're ever looking at some stats like this and you're like, why the fuck is it like this? Probably because casual players.
Yeah.
Because, all four of those articles, with the exception of the lycanthrope one, which I think is just there because werewolf's cool, all those other four articles are all the kind of articles a new player would be interested in. Particularly the first two. Like... Wild Shape and how to create your first D&D character are very obviously new player articles.
Yeah.
So, that's all the D&D Beyond stats. I do kind of wish there was more in-depth stuff.
Stats?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also just like skimming through like the what is Dungeons and Dragons like article, and it's just like, what is D&D? Describing adventures, blah 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 blah, interactive experience. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that article, I bet you money, is like when Jim is like, hey, Morticia, you want to play D&D with me? And she's like, I don't really understand this D&D thing. He's like, here, read this article on D&D Beyond. Maybe it will help you understand.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's part of it.
Why you should play D&D with you being capitalized.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah. And then you want to go down through the entire... Because originally with the Baldur's Gate stat, I was just going to go through like the races and classes, but we can
jump around a little on the blood. But before we do,
so Baldur's Gate 3, that little game that came out this year, that one
Baldur's
game
Gate
of the
3,
year.
that little known D&D CRPG that took the fucking universe over, baby.
Good. This is the standard. We are the standard now.
Correct.
Shut up, other game companies.
Can I just say, by the way? Yeah. I just from the video game industry standpoint, because if it wasn't obvious to people listening, we also play a lot of the video games. If you had told me like maybe 5 years ago, not even 3 years ago, no, maybe 3 years I would have believed. 5 years ago, if you had said, hey, Larian's gonna release a CRPG based on the D&D license, and it's gonna be a game of the year. But not only is it gonna win game of the year at the Game Awards, it's gonna be such a good CRPG that it turns Call of Duty bros into Karlach simps.
Hell yeah, dude.
I would have laughed my ass off, because I would have been like, there's no way in hell a CRPG ever gets that popular. This game is a fucking mind-blowing phenomenon. Like, it's actually insane, because CRPGs, as far as video games go, like, there's a degree of nerdiness, right, when it comes to video games. Like, Call of Duty is like your well, maybe it's Fortnite these days, but like Call of Duty and Fortnite, whatever, are your like basic, like, yeah, I've played a video game. And then you have the bottom barrel nerd shit, like, I've played the original Fallout CRPG. That is like, you're deep in that nerd life. So Baldur's Gate 3 just taking over the fucking like universe is just a wild time. I love it. I love it so much. It's a wild time. I don't even like, it's crazy.
There's I don't know if we can link this in later, but there's a video by Not So Casual called Baldur's Gate 3, Bioware's Fall and Larian's Success. It's such a good retelling of like, not only like BioWare, who was the champions of like CRPGs and all that shit, and then what happened to them, and then Larian's kind of like very slow build to their meteoric rise. Yeah. And it's crazy that these companies both started 1 year apart. I didn't know that. It's fucking insane.
I didn't know that either, actually. That's interesting.
Yeah, BioWare started 1 year before Larian, and basically TLDR for the video, Larian had kept having issues because developers were fucking them over left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And so when it came to the finally time where they're doing early access and Kickstarter, they finally were able to take off. Whereas BioWare was very successful as an indie company, and then once the EA got their grubby little hands on them, things turned for worse. Good video. Go check it out. Anyways,
I will put it in the description.
But yeah, anyways, I want to just kind of go over and just kind of do a slight compare and contrast, like just a very small one of like what the numbers don't lie and they spell disaster. No, just for the numbers of like D&D Beyond shit compared to like the Baldur's Gate stuff, and like just to see like there's so much similarities between a lot of these. And then mainly like the races are very similar, and this is kind of what it like when it came to like the player race choice of like half elf, human, elf being the top 3, because obviously like that's what I've been seeing for years with D&D Beyond. Whenever they would like release some stats, or like other sites would release numbers, like half elves, no matter what Wizards of the Coast says, are one of, if not the most popular, besides obviously the human fighter.
I don't find the races. Yeah, the races aren't super interesting or anything. I do think there's a degree of I think a good portion of the race choices being made in Baldur's Gate are more driven by like power gaming than they would be in a tabletop setting, which I think is potentially why some stuff might move around, but they are still pretty similar. Like
Dragonborn and Tiefling being kind of like similar, like neck and neck, like okay, I forgot Drow is like their own race in this game, but like in Baldur's Gate, half orcs are more popular than dwarves, which I'm surprised by, but because dwarves are such a staple in fantasy, and I think on the D&D Beyond they're like way higher up. Yeah, dwarves are like D6. Yeah, behind half elves. Yeah. So, the fact that dwarves are so low in Baldur's Gate, and then obviously,
like I said, I think some of that might be because of like mechanical power gaming choices.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a theory.
Okay. No. And then gnomes, halflings, and Githyanki being the bottom 3 races, unfortunately. Which sucks because as much as I love Githyanki, a lot of people
don't.
As later on, when it comes to their love interests with Lizelle and everything, people aren't vibing with Gith.
Yeah.
Space alien Vikings, just pirates. Nobody.
Not about it. Apparently.
Yeah. And then class choice. This one is actually kind of interesting. How different this.
So this one's interesting.
Yeah.
Until you remember it's a video game.
Right.
Because
so, like, the number 1 class choice being Paladin.
Yeah. So the class choice is in order here. So number 1 is Paladin, and then it goes Sorcerer, Warlock, Rogue, Bard, Barbarian, Fighter in the middle, Ranger, Wizard, Monk, Druid, Cleric. Now, we don't have Artificer to tank off the bottom here. Instead, Cleric tanks off the bottom. Now,
I think Cleric tanks off the bottom mostly because Shadowheart's in the game. It's like
I was just about to say that.
Tinfoil hat theory. Yeah.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think stuff like Cleric, I think because a lot of people already have Shadowheart on their team. I think Wizard goes down because a lot of people have Gale. Rogue, I think loses points because of Astarion, but I do also think Rogue is as hot. Rogue is number 4 because I think people just love the idea of rogues too much.
Yeah, that or people are playing Astarion
or people are playing as Astarion. I think there's a good amount of that. Yeah.
Well, actually, it's weird because Gale's the most popular. Right. Anyways, yeah.
So here's what I think's going on here. I think a lot of people, Paladin, sorcerers, and warlocks are very cool from a fictional standpoint. I think a lot of people don't play them because they seem harder to play. But in a video game, that difficulty of play is alleviated because the video game covers the rules for you. So you're less intimidated to play something like a paladin or a sorcerer because the hard, difficult parts of the rules, the game helps you with. Yeah. So you're like, I want to play a paladin, but it seems hard if I play it in D&D, even though paladin's not actually hard, but it looks hard. Yeah. So I'm going to play this in Baldur's Gate. Also, I think the casual audience of players who jump into a video game is not the same vibe as casual people jumping into D&D proper. Because I think D&D proper, you have a lot of people who are being coerced by their friends to play D&D with them, but they're not really that personally invested, so they just say fuck it and play the most basic option, which is Bob the Human Fighter.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate, you don't need any friend coercion. You could have friend coercion because multiplayer, but most likely, a lot of people, you're buying it yourself because you want to play it. So your options of like cool character ideas, you're a little more emotionally invested, so you're going to think about it more. And Paladin, from a fictional standpoint, is super fucking sick. Like, cool, holy warrior with magic. Sounds really dope.
The role is built. Yeah, it's built into
the role play is right there. Yeah. And Larian made the Paladin oath stuff pretty interesting.
Oh, the whole
Oathbreaker and everything. Yeah. So the idea of Paladin being way higher in a video game than it is in a tabletop game, it doesn't actually surprise me that much. I think it kind of makes sense.
I think it's also because, like, out of all the classes, it's the main, like, Gish class. It has spells, it has armor, and you fight it.
Not that video game players would know that.
I know, but like, it's like, ooh, I get to do magic and I can hit people real hard with my sword. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think Paladin is very appealing, but intimidating in a tabletop context. So in a video game, you go, well, if I can't play it in tabletop, I can play it in the video game.
There's also the part of me that's like looking at like Paladin, Sorcerer, Warlock. I'm like, you fucking Sorcerer locks. I hate you all.
So again, like I said with the species, I do think a lot of choices are being driven by metagaming design and power gaming builds. And as you have just pointed out, Paladin, Sorcerer, Warlock is the power gamey combo. So I do think that's a good part of it too. I thought Wizard would be a bit higher on this list, but I think that is because of Gale.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Bard isn't higher. Because I've seen so many, like, I played a bard too.
I've seen
so many more people play bards just because of how much dialogue nonsense you unlock as a bard.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
I don't know. That's a hard one to say. Why? I don't know if Bard would be higher or not. I don't know. Tough one. Maybe some people just don't find Bard as cool, even though bards are fucking dope.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny. 93% of you rolled custom tabs. Of the 7% who decided to embark on origin characters, the majority chose Gale. I think it's interesting that 93% of people played custom tab.
That makes sense.
Well, it makes sense, but I think I do want to say, I think a reason it's because 93% is a really high number. Yeah. I think the reason that number is so high is because Larian told people to play custom tab.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Multiple panels from hell. They said the way we expect most people to experience this game by default is as a custom character. And I think because they kept pushing that, I think it worked and people took their advice, essentially.
Yeah, although I will say, not to spoil anything, I think the Dark Urge for me is like the one like closest to like a canon story.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I think the reason
it's very cool.
I think the thing about Dark Urge is they kept it a secret for a long time, so a lot of people didn't end up going with it because they were unsure of what it was. But I think now that the game has been out for a while, I bet you Dark Urge has shifted quite a bit up stats wise. I would imagine.
Yeah. Because
I would imagine
out of all of them, it does also have, like, again, not spoiling, but it does have a connection with the other games as well. So if you want to be one of those people, you could be like, oh, fucking yeah.
Right. So the origin characters.
Yeah, origin characters. Yeah, number of origin characters played. Obviously, number one, Gale.
Number one, Gale. Can I just say, by the way, thank you for giving us hard numbers.
Yeah, that's actually crazy that they give the hard numbers. I'm surprised,
27,784 players played Gale.
Yeah.
We had Gale, then Karlach, then Astarion.
I like how the Barbarian and the Rogue are the like neck and neck. It's so fucking fun. It's like all the memes of the Barbarian and Rogue getting in the mischief, and you're like, yeah, of course.
And then Shadowheart, then Will, then Lae'zel. I find it shocking that Will beat Lae'zel.
Yeah, because I feel bad because I think with the character change they gave to Will of him not being as much as a like I fucking despise goblins. Oh God, you're like, all right, Will, chill. Like they changed his character and he does have a very cool story, but he's just you have to get to the city though.
Yeah, really my man's is just the most vanilla. Like he's very white bread. I mean, he's not a white man, but he's very white bread.
Well, no, it's a very cool concept where it's like, all right, guy who's supposed to be the knight in shining armor, the hero, is actually using dark evil fucking magic to do so, and you're like, okay, that's cool. What do you do with that? He is just, I don't know if he's just a nice guy. He's just like, yeah, he's a nice dude, and he's actually using these dark evil powers to do good. But like, there's no, I mean, up until they start a game without spoiling it, like, there's no real consequences. He's just like, yeah, guys, I'm saving children with my fucking army of hellhounds. You know,
there is consequences much later in the game, but yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah.
I think Will just seems the most seems like the least interesting because he's just like, his story isn't bad, but he as a person is very whatever. I think that's what it comes down to.
I'm also surprised with Lae'zel because of how much in the forefront she's been within trailers. She was one of the earliest characters. Yeah, like she's in terms of marketing. I mean, you meet. Yeah, she's the first one you meet in the game. And then I don't know if it's just her personality or the fact that she's literally a fucking alien.
She is, how you say, kind of an asshole at the start. Yeah. So, you know.
Again, to quote my friend Richard, the fucking frog, she's a fucking frog bitch.
Yeah.
It's so fucking.
I think the most interesting one here, though, is Gale being number one. And I think, honestly, there's a part of me that thinks Gale is number one because a lot of people really want to play wizards in D&D. Like, I think a lot of people come to D&D being like, oh, wizards are fucking cool. You know, like, I watched Lord of the Rings.
But they don't want to be Gandalf old man like they think all wizards have to be.
No, I don't even think it's that. No, I don't. I think a lot of people do want to be Gandalf old man. But I think people look at how you have to play, like how a wizard plays in D&D and go, that's too much fucking work, and just tap out. So I think Gale is the most popular origin character because people want to play cool wizard guy. And in a video game, it's easier to play cool wizard guy. So they can't do it in D&D, so they do it in the video game.
Yeah, most of my friends, when Diablo 4 came out, I think most of them played like the caster. I don't know what the caster is called, but
sorcerer.
And literally, I would just watch them fucking Iron Man beam shot like all the enemies in a circle. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I think a lot of people love the idea of wizards, but in D&D get very intimidated by wizards.
Yeah.
Also, Gale, is a hot, sexy man.
Yeah.
I think that helps.
Yeah, and I think it's weird because I'm trying to like compare, because I know, again, without spoiling anything, like just the narrative arc, I know that each of these characters go, like, they're so good in their own right, but yeah, I feel like this kind of is pretty accurate. Maybe I would swap Shadowheart up. I don't know. I'm a Karlach simp, so
in terms of whose personal story you think is better?
Not better, but like, I guess has more like weight to it or something. Like,
I would say Shadowheart. I would probably, here's my thing. Astarion's like my favorite character in the game, but in terms of personal story, I do think Shadow Hearts is kind of like a bigger deal, if you will.
Shadow Hearts that's what I'm saying. Shadow Hearts, I think, is a bigger deal. I would say Karlach also because hers is tied to her, without saying much. Actually, same with which is weird. Gale and Karlach are kind of almost in the same boat, so to speak. Maybe that's why they're kind of like the top two.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Astarion's pretty personal. Shadow Heart's pretty personal. Will, you don't really get it until later in the game, unfortunately. Which is like, and then Lizelle.
Also late in the game.
Yeah, also late in the game. But like Lizelle's main thing is kill the mind flayers. All right, why do I do that? Oh, I have to beat the whole fucking game. Okay. Shit, we're gonna be here a while.
I don't know. I don't think. But here's the thing, Matt. This is people picking the origin characters, and you don't know their story beforehand.
True.
So I don't think that's influencing this.
Okay, yeah. This is just me from like
you have too much information.
The game. I have too much too much information, which actually, again, to kind of like think about this from another standpoint. I know it's not Larian's shtick. But man, if they want to do DLC for this game,
oh boy,
just add, not more. I don't want more characters, but like just more story, more like world. Like that'd be not. Give me, maybe not a Baldur's Gate 3.2, but like I don't know, Baldur's Gate 2, Baldur's Gate 3.5. I don't know. Like you could take that.
I think you're gonna have to keep hoping for that one, bud.
Yeah, because I know they don't normally do that, but I think maybe with the success of Baldur's Gate 3, maybe they'll now consider it at least.
We'll see.
Big maybe. Big like I would like it to be a big maybe and have them at least consider it.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what they're thinking.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah.
So yeah. The next stats, I mean
well, I was gonna say, do we want to go into the next stats because they're all kind of like
they're all whatever. They're less important. Whatever. 100,000 players rejected by Astarion, I think is just very funny. I don't know what people are doing to fuck that one up so much.
Yeah. 815,000 kicked off shoved someone off the ledge. Yep.
815,000. Wait, one NPC was shoved into a chasm for every concurrent player we had during our peak on Sunday. 815,000. So people just really like the shove action.
Yep.
Which I think is that's pretty funny. 12% of player deaths were caused by friendly fire.
Yep.
88. What are y'all doing?
Players spent 88 years in character creation. That's pretty funny.
I know, that's crazy. A collective 88 years in character creation is wild.
Good. Yeah.
Also,
10% of characters spent at least an hour in character creation.
I'm on that list.
Yeah.
I'm 100% on that list. We already mentioned the 90% of people rolled a custom character. I just wanted to take a moment. 368 players finished the game in the opening weekend.
That's Chris.
Are these 368 Chads? And can we get them all in one room, please?
I was sad because like this game came out before I left for my excursion to Norway.
Yes.
So I literally rushed through the first two acts of the game.
The whole thing.
Actually, no. I played the shit out of the first act and then I rushed through Act 2 only to come back from my trip and redo all of Act 2 to like find every nook and cranny like I did with Act 1. So I was slow on the ball, but like when the game came out, I was there and watching all the videos of people being like, "Oh, I found this in Act 1," and I'm like, "Oh shit! Oh, so did I! Oh fuck!" And it's cool, like real time experience with the internet.
Yes, yeah. I just really want to get those 368 players in a room and just have a chat with those absolute fucking animals.
Yeah.
Finished an opening weekend. They beat this game in like 3 days.
It's the crazy people like, actually, did you ever watch the video with Matt Mercer talking to Sven? Where Matt Mercer's like, I found a way to get past the gate to Baldur's Gate without having to talk. And Sven's like, how'd you manage that? And he like stacked a million fucking crates and then used the teleporter arrow. And Sven's like, I've never I've never seen that before.
Didn't think about that one. Yeah.
It's so fucking because it's like people like that. Where they're just like, yeah,
I don't know. Yeah,
the game, and
I don't know who these
zip across the map.
368 maniacs. They're all probably serial killers or some shit. I don't even know, because beating this game in a weekend is fucking wild.
I think I don't remember how much I've spent. Like,
it took me forever to beat this game, dog.
Yeah, same.
Ever.
You know, the rest of the stats, not really much. Again, most people veer towards helping the Druid Grove than assaulting it.
Wow, crazy. Most people wanted to help the druids. Funny how that works, huh?
Yeah, most people are good. Over 1 million people talk to corpses, and over...
Skipped over the most important stat.
Oh, Scratch has been petted
750,000 pets for the good boy.
Yeah, dude.
I hope that number continues to rise every day.
Yeah. Well, again, this article came out...
This came out
way
in
a while ago. Yeah. Oh, it's been a while.
And then, so back in August, players have played for at least 10 million hours, or over 1,225 years. I would love to see what that number is now, because holy fuck, who knows? That number has got to be insane now, like so big. I don't even, bro, literally how? It's so crazy.
Yeah, no, it's
so crazy. Side note,
these are the numbers we like to see. These are the crazy shit.
Good numbers.
Yeah.
The Druid Grove one, assaulted the Druid Grove versus saved the Druid Grove. I would like more stats like these around the big choices in the game.
Yeah, I think they did this one because most people, because how long Act 1's been in alpha for, most people know about the Druid Grove shit. The rest of the game is a big unknown, even for people who never, like, you know, people play the game, maybe early access, but never got into like the full game for whatever reason. Maybe they're like, we don't want to spoil it yet. But yeah, no, I would like to see that too.
I would like to see the bigs. Like, I would love to see, like, I don't know, trying to think of other like major
There's also so many, like, I won't say like what the ending is, but there are multiple fucking choices. Yeah. Unlike Mass Effect, where like each one is like, yes, they're slightly different, but they're yeah. I don't know much about Mass Effect, but I do know that.
I would like to see, like, for example, how many people brought the weird ox to Baldur's Gate.
Oh, you know, yeah.
How many people, the big decisions at the end of each of the character stories, like how many people.
The thing with Will.
Right.
Say.
Yeah. What did you what did Will decide? What did Astarion decide? What did Shadowheart decide? I'd love to see those kind of percentages.
What did Karlach decide?
Yeah.
Karlach and everyone. Shit, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Everyone has a big decision at the end. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the NPCs, your guy. Even, you know, without saying the Dark Urge, but they have multiple choices in their playthrough of like what the fuck you can do. God. The Dark Urge is crazy.
I would love to see the stat, and I know that the number is going to be hilariously skewed to one side, but I would love to see the percentage of people who gave Scratch back to the Kennel Master.
Oh, what the fuck?
Versus not. I bet you money the people who gave Scratch back is probably like sub 2% or some shit. Like, it's probably so low.
There's a video I watched where some guys like every single NPC reaction to fucking
to that choice.
Yeah. Nice. And they're like, "Oh, you disgust me.
You're awful. How could you do such a thing?"
Or giving Astarion to those people.
Oh yeah, the hunters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I do hope Baldur's Gate does another one of these big stats things but like with more of the game choices. I think that.
Yeah. What? One day we'll do, maybe when either Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year edition and or when the fuck Isaiah plays the game, we can actually have a Baldur's Gate episode.
Just go ballistic.
I really would like to do that.
Let's go ballistic on Baldur's Gate fucking a year and a half later.
I'm just going to start spoiling it for him until he fucking plays.
Just bully him into playing.
Just start saying shit.
Just go
like, yeah, when fucking, it's like, yeah, when Shadowheart stabs this person, you're like, oh shit, no.
What an evil.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, Josh, what do you think about these crazy factoids and numbers?
I would like
We've
D&D
been looking
Beyond to give their stats in a better. It seems like they really prioritize the stats page, like the splash art for the stats looking cool on D&D Beyond, and I would much prefer that we get better harder numbers and also more interesting stats. I think a lot of them were like kind of whatever, like a couple of them were kind of whatever.
Maybe they were like thinking like, oh, maybe if we give the average age, that's like an interesting factoid.
Yeah, it's like not.
Yeah,
it's like really not.
Sure.
That's the thing. Like, give me more. Like, I like, top 5 articles. That was a good one.
That's pretty good.
Obviously the classes and species and the names I like. Player
Actually,
level cool.
I would like to know like top 5 like monsters like
that'd be a good one. Yep.
I mean, I'm assuming it's goblins and kobolds and shit, but like I want to like see like a weird shit where someone's like, yeah, corpse flowers, and it's like, why the fuck?
Yeah, like I would like more. I would like more interesting stats from D&D Beyond and more properly explained in detail. Basically, I'm a big fucking nerd, and I would like better nerd numbers.
Mm.
And I just want Baldur's Gate to do another one because I like theirs. So another one would be nice.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie, and they spell sacrifice. This Sunday on Impact.
Right. Yes. Because you see, I am a genetic freak of nature, and Erd Angle is only a one.
Angle knows.
1/2 quarter human being, and you see, if I get in there, he's only a quarter of I don't know how the rank goes.
It's a long rant.
It's a long rant.
See, I'm a genetic freak.
I'm a genetic freak of nature.
So I'm 50% elf, and I'm also 50% human, but I'm also 100% fighter, and that means that means follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that does mean you're right, Matt. That means you should follow us on Twitter. I like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because Gale said so, and look at his sexy chiseled chin and his hot, sexy hair and his fabulous
Gale and Bob,
beard
the human
and
fighter.
Incredibly toned pet. What were we talking about? What?
As they oil each other up, follow each other on Twitter, following us on Twitter.
Let's go.
But yeah, next time we will journey through the center of the earth and find more numbers and or spoil the shit out of Baldur's Gate for Isaiah. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Have a good night, everybody.
Or morning or evening or middle of the day, whenever you're listening. Don't let Matt dictate your temporal position.
Too bad.